Hello, Ralph Freestone here. As you can see, I have a little bit different scenery today. Yes, it is January 9th and our Christmas tree is still up, and I dare you to say something about it, okay? Anyway, I just thought I would enjoy and share while, it's still up. Anyway, so after the holidays, a lot of times, sometimes during the holidays, people go into funk-y places, okay? Like deep down and whatever happens, stuff comes out, things surface, all kinds of things. There's a couple things that I want to share today. First, I want to share the 3 questions that you should ask yourself when you feel like you're getting into a funk. But I also want you to think about 3 different times of your life that you may be experiencing. So I'll share those first. So first I want you to think about, what time of day. So if you're sitting here and you're in this space and you're like, just kind of in this funky place, what time of day is it? And is this typically the time of day when you're in that kind of funk? Is it in the morning and you just can't seem to get out of bed? Is it in the afternoon and you want to go to bed? Or is it, at night and you just go to bed early, or whatever it is? It doesn't always have to do with going to bed either. But, what time of day is your funk? The other thing I want you to think about is what time of month is your funk? Sometimes people get more nervous and excited and anxious about, the end of the month, paying bills and all that kind of thing. Some people get a little anxious about, different crunch times, in between paychecks. I mean, it doesn't always have to deal with finances, but, that's just the kind of thing that happens. Sometimes, when you're a female, it's that time of the month, But that's also something to think about. So what time of day, what time of the month, and also what time of the year. So basically what I'm getting at is there tends to be patterns at times when we're going through different kinds of funky cycles, right? It's not always a pattern, but it could be that a certain time of the day, a certain time of the month, and a certain time of the year is more likely that you will be in some kind of funk. Okay, so those are 3 times that I want you to think about, but those are not the 3 questions. Here's the 3 questions. Okay, but first, I probably should tell you a little bit my little funk here. So it's been a couple days, and usually that's how long it is for me. It's usually a couple days, but I haven't had one in a long time, you guys. It's been a long time since I've been like in a multi-day funk. I had a headache, I was feeling nauseous, just all kinds of stuff was coming up. I was having spiraling thoughts, all the things are happening, and I was just like, what in the world is going on with me? Oh, I need to get out of this. And then I felt myself trying to push out of it and then just sink in deeper. And so here's a couple of questions that I asked myself that you can ask yourself. And literally, today, I am just literally getting out of it. And I'll tell you the 3 things that I did. It's actually 1 thing that I did, but it includes 3 things. So there's a lot of 3s today. Okay, so the first question that you should ask yourself is, let me look at how I worded this, because sometimes when I think it in my head, it comes out a little different. Okay, so who have you been surrounding yourself around lately? Has there been a consistent group of people or a consistent person who sucks or drains your energy, who's super negative, who you have ill feelings toward or has ill feelings towards you? What kind of people have you been surrounding yourself? Because we know that what does it say? That you are the cumulative of the top of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. And so what kind of energy in the terms of other people in your space have you been experiencing? That's something that I have been hyper aware of lately. And I'm thinking about, specific people, but I haven't been around those people that consistently. But what happens is consistently over time, and having the same issues come up with the same person over time, it tends to get a little draining. And I'm like, well, I know it's not my husband because I've been around him for a lot of days, you know what I mean? So, but all of those things, you start to look at other people around you and you start to want to point the finger at them too. But it could be someone that is not in your immediate circle, someone who maybe there's a cyclical thing Every time some idea comes up, or a meeting comes up, or a thought comes up, or a plan comes up, or an idea, whatever it is, that person's energy just kind of sucks into you. I was at a meeting just the other night, and there was a woman there, and we were sitting in a circle, we were talking about things, and her thoughts kept going to the negative. And I was just like, why is she, it was like, but we were so quick to be like, hey, that's negative. Let's turn that around. And by the end of the meeting, she was turned around, and it was awesome. And she was able to add to the positive energy of the group instead of taking away with her negativity. And it's something that a lot of times people don't notice, but they're doing it. And, just sometimes, if you just share that with people, they can change their perspective. But sometimes it takes a little bit more than that, but, whatever. So that first question is, who are you, I'm looking at my notes, who are you surrounding yourself with? And what kind of influence are they to you? Now, here's another thing to think about. Are you that person? Because a lot of times when we are that person, we suck in about everyone else's energy, right? And then when they start to withdraw from us because of that, we start to feel that our energy, go down. And so perhaps, maybe, just maybe, you could be that person who's sucking up everyone's positive energy with your negativity. And then when you notice that they are no longer present, you are left with all that. Yeah, that's a word. Anyway, a couple things to think about. Okay, so that's number one. Who have you been surrounding yourself around, and who have you been surrounding yourself with, and what kind of influence are they? Or what kind of influence are you? Second question. I'll save that one for last. Okay. Oh no, I'll just ask it now. Okay. This is the second question. What is waiting for you on the other side of this funk? This is a good one. I love it. I love it. I love it, because sometimes we forget that there is opposition in all things, and that when you are getting so close, that 3 feet from gold concept, when you're getting so close, the enemy wants to pull you back and drag you down and keep you from getting yourself to that finish line, inching yourself across that line so that you can get to the other side of this thing. So the question is, what is waiting for you on the other side of this funk? And I don't want to put too many questions in there, but are you willing to get there? Are you willing to take the risk? Are you willing to plunge through all the opposition? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Because sometimes when you recognize the prize and you can keep your eyes on the prize, it helps you to get through. Let's see what else I'm saying about what I was saying. What's on the other side? Okay. Also, part of that too is a lot of times, sometimes what's on the end of that. You've been working on something really hard and you've had this goal in mind, and that's what's going on with me too, right? I have this huge goal and I haven't even been able to announce what I'm doing yet, because I've got to wait for some other things to fall into place, and I've got to be responsible and considerate and respectful about all the things that I'm doing. So I'm kind of waiting, in a waiting place. And while I'm in that waiting place is a good opportunity for the enemy to be like, ooh, let's have the doubts creep in. Let's have her, blah, 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 whatever. But also that can be a time when you start to procrastinate a little bit, start to lose your momentum a little bit, start to get a little less energetic. Your life is a little less invigorating because you're not really doing as much as you normally do. And for me, what I decided to do was okay, I'm waiting on this thing, and I know that a lot of things can't happen until that thing comes, whatever happens with that thing. And I know when that thing happens, it's either going to be one or two directions, and I'm ready to go either direction, right? What can I do right now to prepare me for whichever direction things go? What can I do right now to keep things moving forward, to be proactive, right? Because a lot of times, so what could happen is that thing could be resolved. Like the decision can be made, the resources could be available, the door could be open, whatever it is. And then you're like, oh, gotta get on this, you know, and you're like, running around crazy, right? And you could be wasting time, wasting money, sitting, moping, stewing, spiraling, whatever it is that you're doing when the opposition gets to you, instead of being proactive and constantly moving forward in a way that is helpful. So I haven't had to be very prayerful about this, because I felt like, okay, well, I can't do this because, you know, I have to wait for that, or I can't do this, or if I do this, and this will compromise that, like, you know what I mean? So I've had to be prayerful about what that thing is. And I found this today, like in my questioning, you know, asking this question and trying to get out of this funk. I'm like, I know what it is. And so I've been re-energized. Okay, so that's question number 2. Let me look at it again. What is on the other side of this funk? And what maybe are you procrastinating because of it? Okay, one other thing I want to say about that is sometimes we are afraid of the success or the greatness that is on the other side. And so this is the imposter syndrome, could be, right? It's the imposter syndrome is basically like feeling like you are, for some reason, not worthy of whatever success or goodness or greatness or whatever that is, that basically what's on the other side of the funk. And so a defense mechanism is to act out of fear, to procrastinate, for example, to not move forward, you know, to be paralyzed. That's similar to procrastinating. Or whatever, you know, fight, flight, freeze, whatever your response is, like that tends to be something that happens when you are fearing the success and maybe kind of anxious about what could be. Because if you got a 2020 vision and you've got your eyes on a big prize this year, or if it's, you know, just a little tweak that's going to make a big difference, like, it's important. And of course the enemy is going to be like, and try to get in there. Anyway, so just another thought for you to think about. Okay, third question. Okay, this is a process question. So the question is, what is missing from your normal process? So this could be your morning routine. This could be your problem solving system, flow, whatever it is, right? Your the way when you're dealing with opposition, you know, perhaps there's something missing out of your day. Here's a couple things I noticed. I already did a video about the yoga thing. Was that? Oh no, I'm sorry. That was an email to my customers. Sorry. I guess I didn't talk about it. Anyway, I had a realization that I was missing more exercise in my life through yoga and all those other things that I like to do. And so that had a big impact on me. Today, I realized that I have been missing a very spiritual experience, attending the temple. Like, that is the huge regeneration for me spiritually. And it's been about 2 weeks since I've been. Another thing that I realized I was missing yesterday when I was in the deepest of my funk, I was not taking my vitamins. So just little things. It could be little things, it could be big things. So it could be like a big, you know, trip that you take once a month, or it could be like, getting your nails done, or, you know, it's something, typically something related to self-care, or spiritual care that you are missing. So faith, or, you know, skincare to faith care, right? So what part of your process are you missing or skipping over during this time because you're in this funk and you're a little impaired, right? Because you're distracted maybe by the ploys of the enemy, who wants you to keep scrolling on Facebook, or, you know, take just another 30-minute nap, or to eat another bowl of ice cream, or whatever it is that is the way that, you know, the enemy gets to you. So again, those three questions to ask yourself is, who are you surrounding yourself around, and what kind of influence are they or are you? The second question is, what is missing? No, that's not true. What's on the other side of this funk that you need to be keeping your eyes on, or maybe procrastinating from? And the third thing is, what is missing from your process that keeps you plowing through stuff so that you stay invigorated, you stay energetic, you stay on the up and up, despite whatever darts are aimed at you. There was something else that I wanted to share, and I can't think of what it is right now. Darn. But it's related to all of this. So let's just talk about this. Just think about yourself, the time of day, the time of month, and the time of year that it is, and when you typically go into some kind of funk space. Know your thresholds. Know like the max or the cap amount of time that you can spend with toxic people, or know like what your balance is of, positive to negative interaction. So if you interacted, 3 times negatively, with people, you need like 10 positive interactions to counterbalance that and to, cancel it out, right? So get an idea of what it is that you need to get yourself back into balance. I've been talking about that with a friend lately. And I not that everything in life will ever be like completely, even kill, but keep you from tipping over the edge into the funk. So like this time it creeped up on me and I was like, and just kind of spiraled down into that thing. But these 3 questions helped me to like get out of that. And this is what I was going to share. And I told you I would share it at the beginning of this video. So one thing, at the meeting that I had on Monday with a couple of my sisters, we talked about a strategy that we can use. So the company that I am with, they have this motto, this saying, this company approved message actually, and it says faith or God first, family second, and career third. And it was suggested by one of the leaders on my team that think about one thing in each of those areas each day that you just absolutely have to accomplish. So I'm telling you, that's what got me on this live today. First of all, knowing that I had to go live, and knowing that I actually contemplated being like, okay, y'all, I'm still in bed. But like, I'm like, no, I got to get my energy together. So here's the 3 things. So I narrowed it. I categorized it as faith, family, and finances. So 3 things. This is the one thing. The one thing is to decide what one thing in each of those areas is the most important today. And so the thing for my faith was, I decided that I need to go to the temple. That was my thing. Like I'm doing that. I texted my husband like, when are we going? Tonight, tomorrow, what? Let's figure this out. So we figured that out. Done. Well, not done, but the plan is done. So that was for faith. So for family, I'm like, I need to go pick up one of the kids from school. I have a public school homeschooler, half day person now, who's not quite driving yet. And she's got 2 weeks to get herself together so she can drive herself back and forth. But I'm like, okay, for family, I need to get myself together, get out of bed and go pick up this child so she can come home and get her stuff done. She's counting on me right now. So that was my family thing, my one thing for my family. And my third thing was a finances thing. And basically it was to do a little research on this project that I've been working on for some time now, but I'm like, now's the time. Again, like I was saying, that prize, I'm waiting to hear about, but there's proactive things that I can do right now to have things in place for multiple streams of income or whatever it is that I feel, wherever that will go. So Those are the three things that I decided to do. And what happens is, like, once that thing is knocked out, for example, like, I went and picked up my daughter, and she's home now. So that space is open. But you know what? I'm focused. I've got two other things that I can focus on right now. And if I am at a place where I can replace that thing, put a new thing in that space. But for right now, I've got two other things. I'm kind of preparing my mind mentally and kind of spiritually preparing myself for attending the temple. And I am super stoked about this thing that I'm researching right now. And this is another step that, there's just so much excitement in that. So, invigorating, right? And that's the goal. So the goal is to find something that is invigorating. And if three things in that one thing, so if that one thing with three categories is too much, just pick one thing, okay? I could have easily been like, okay, my sight is on the temple. Like, this is what I'm doing. I need to do this. But I needed like a long term, a midterm, and a short term because I was laying in bed and I needed to get up. So I needed a very short term thing to get me up. And then I needed something to work on between now and when I'm going to the temple because that's going to be in a little while, right? So I figured out that, okay, this is how I'm going to spread it out for myself because I have to be able to get through the day. And so I took my vitamins, other things just kind of naturally happen as a result of that. And so breathe. Open your mind to the possibilities that these three questions can help you get out of your funk. And listen for the answers. The answers are always inside of you. I've said this several times, but a good coach will coach as they coach you, believes that you have the answers inside of you and you can tap into that goodness and that light and pull it out. And then just breathe. Even lying in bed, like I could just be, right? One more thought I want to share with you. So this goes back to the first question about, who are you surrounding yourself with? Basically what negativity is in your life. But I want you to think about this. And this is something that I recognize as part of my funkiness. And that was, I did a presentation on Tuesday. And as part of my presentation, I shared my burnout story, my overcoming burnout story, really. But I went to that place of where I was burning out and where I was at a very, very low. And sometimes revisiting those things can bring up stuff if you don't sew it up. You know what I mean? But what I could tell was my audience was feeling that. They were connecting to it in whatever way that it connected to them. And sometimes that connection is in the form of empathy or sympathy. It's like, oh my goodness, that's so terrible. Or oh, I can relate to that. But I wasn't in a place where I could, talk with people about that and sew that up and deal with that, whatever came up for people. So that, I'm just going to say that lingering air was still there. And so that's another thing to consider, what kind of things are being left, what negativity is still in the air that maybe, kind of like germs. What germs are in the air that you ingest and cause you to have issues? Physical symptoms, spiritual symptoms, emotional symptoms, whatever it is, they're all negative and they all have a negative impact. But again, awareness is the key. Oh my goodness, awareness is power, knowledge is power, understanding is powerful, because one of the things that the enemy feeds off on is the fact that we don't even know what's happening. That's his greatest accomplishment, is to be able to slide in there and without being noticed. So calling out that thing, recognizing that thing, which is why I'm throwing all these things at you, right? Whatever sticks with you is what you take, right? Let everything else go. But recognize that knowledge is power, and I'm just trying to instill as much insight and understanding in you as possible. So connect to whatever you connect to, and allow that to help you to build your positive energy so that you can reach for the stars. More specifically, keep your eyes on that prize, right? Your 2020 prize, and keep moving forward, because a funk is not the end of the world. You know, we all get into a place where we are dealing with that kind of thing. And actually, one of the projects that I'm working on right now, I'm just gonna kind of tell you a little bit, is I'm working on, I've done workshops, and I've done mostly just workshops, teaching people a journaling technique that helps them through that kind of stuff. And I'm, kind of researching some ways to help people be able to do that more efficiently. And so, of course, I was going to say journaling, right? One of the important things that I get out of doing these videos, not only do I get to share with you the knowledge and insights and mistakes and lessons and all the things that I've learned, but it's also, I'm leaving an imprint right now. I am basically journaling right now, and I'm sharing, my journey, and it's part of my healing and journaling process and working through stuff. A lot of times I do that off camera, and so that when I come to you, I have things, in a more packaged format, I guess, but it's still super powerful, super important. So breathe, because I know I just threw a lot of stuff at you. I threw out 3 times that you may be going to a funk that you need to think about. I threw out 3 questions that you want to ask yourself, and I threw out a bunch of other extra things. Take what you need and leave the rest. And you know what? Maybe just come back and watch this video some other time when you feel like, okay, I think I got that now. What was that other thing? Or, whatever. And with that said, if you would like to join my email list, click send email at the top of the page and say, hey, add me to your email list, please, or something to the effect of that. And I will get you on there. I try to send emails out pretty regularly. It's been funny because there's been so many holidays lately. I'm like, hey, Christmas, hey, New Year's, all these things. So with that, I will say, have a wonderful day. Really. Not a funky day, but a wonderful day.